This morning, we have new details about the two Wisconsin brothers missing. We'll tell you what we're learning.
And after hard-to-control crowds and a year off, one of the area's biggest, busiest festivals is back. We're live this morning at Sunflower Days with what to know before you go.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Boy, folks, if you need a reason to smile today,
Holy
wow,
cow.
those sunflowers.
Gorgeous.
Are we really already at sunflower time?
Isn't
Because
that crazy?
I sort of think of that as kind of summer's beginning to an end.
It is, and it
But
doesn't
it's
last
pretty.
long enough, so get out there and enjoy it. Christina is going to have the details on that, and we have a couple of beautiful days to go and enjoy it.
We do. We've had a great stretch of weather this week, and it continues today. Sun is up this morning. Skies are clear here in Madison. There is a little bit of fog, though, through the Wisconsin River Valley. It's confined just to the river valleys and real low spots this morning. Not a huge issue. Once the sun gets a little higher in the sky, it should burn that fog off. But visibility is at 0 in Lone Rock and Boscobel this morning. Here's a look at our current temperatures. We're down 1 degree in Madison to 65. Janesville is at 64. You're actually up a couple of degrees. 65 in Platteville and 61 in the Dells. Temperatures today are going to be warm again, a little bit more humid with highs in the mid-80s. Just your typical July summer day here in Wisconsin. First alert traffic update this morning. We'll show you what's happening on the roads. Getting a little busier at Stoughton Road and the Beltline, but no major issues just yet. Taking a look at a wider view, you'll see that there aren't any other issues in and around Dane County. Looks like travel on the interstate still going at posted speeds.
Traffic, just like the weather this week, has been nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet is good.
Nice little break for all of us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
All right, to our top story this morning. Get ready once again to see fields of gold. Nearly 100,000 people are expected at this year's Sunflower Days, returning to Middleton's Pope Farm Conservancy after a year off.
Visitors can see more than 500,000 sunflowers in bloom in a 9-acre field. Christina Laurie is there this morning with a beautiful backdrop to talk more about some of the new events this year. Hi, Christina.
It really is gorgeous out here this morning, Josh and Leah. And after a year off, everyone at home can join me out here as well. Over the next 10 days, Sunflower Days returns to the Conservancy here in Middleton. And here to talk about that is Cynthia Richson. She's the town board chair for the city. This means a lot for your town. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. This is a beautiful 105-acre nature conservancy, birds, butterflies, beautiful sunflowers, 10 acres, and we want to share it with the public.
And this is such a positive event. I know the town of Middleton went through a lot last year. You had that workplace shooting, you had flooding. This is something super positive. How does it feel to have so much good energy around this event?
Well, it's excellent to have good energy, but I do want to correct the record. The shooting was in the city of Middleton. We're in the town of Middleton.
Oh,
So-
I apologize for that.
No, we've had a peaceful, beautiful environment here. So this is very positive, and the nature, the environment is beautiful, and the sunflowers are about to explode in a good way.
Yeah, and they're about to explode. I heard that peak time might be coming soon. Do you know when that is?
I think this weekend, every day more and more open, and I think this weekend probably is when they're going to peak.
And what's unique about these sunflowers is that you can see, I mean, people are at home are looking at them now. They kind of tilt towards the sun.
Absolutely. Yes.
And what's your favorite part of Sunflower Days?
Just being in nature, it just makes you immediately feel good and calm, serene, seeing all the children and the families out here visiting, enjoying themselves, family time. It's really rewarding.
And this event this year, it's expected to be back really big. If people are expecting crowds, when is the best time for them to come out?
Well, we encourage advance ticket purchases online, but you can purchase tickets on site. And of course, we expect the weekends to be more crowded than during the weekdays. But any time is a good time to come out.
You heard it here. Thank you so much, Cynthia. So if you'd like to come out to Sunflower Days, you can do so starting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. It runs every day for the next 10 days from 8 a.m. until sunset. Tickets are $4. To all ticketing information up on our website, channel3000.com.
Christina Laurie with all the information, and photojournalist Mark Schilling with some beautiful shots there. Thank you to you both.
6:04 right now. Breaking news overnight in the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Puerto Ricans once again took to the streets, this time not in protest, but in celebration. Governor Ricardo Roseo officially announced his plans to resign overnight. In a televised speech, he said he would stay in his position until August 2nd, when Puerto Rico Secretary of Justice Wanda Vazquez will take over as governor. Thousands have protested for over a week, calling for the governor's resignation after group messages between Roseo and his inner circle were published, which use homophobic and misogynistic language and jokes about Hurricane Maria victims.
Robert Mueller's nearly 6-hour testimony yesterday is sparking some mixed reactions this morning. President Trump called it a great day for Republicans and for himself personally, while Democratic leaders are hoping the American people were listening closely when Mueller testified that he did not clear the president of wrongdoing and that he could be charged with a crime after leaving office. Mueller's testimony was mostly confined to his 448-page report, referring back to it quite frequently. Democrats are still deciding whether to start impeachment proceedings now against the president.
More local news now. The Department of Transportation doesn't have any set plans for the Beltline renovation, but officials did hold a public information session last night. Some of you have had the questions or the chance to ask the questions about the Wisconsin DOT's plans to use the shoulder of the Beltline as an additional lane during rush hour. Common concerns were about noise, the environment, and safety. Even though there isn't a set path from here, WISC says they still stand in their belief that the plans they're working on would create a safe way to reduce traffic during peak travel times.
We're excited about the possibility of utilizing something that other states have successfully used and implemented to try to alleviate recurrent congestion like this.
The DOT is taking all the concerns they heard at that meeting to refine their plans, and they hope to address even more at the next meeting. The date for that hasn't been set yet.
A first alert traffic note for you as you start your Thursday. The 700 block of East Main Street will be closed for up to 2 months for cleanup from last Friday's fire at the Blount substation there. The American Transmission Company says that closure is needed to give space for equipment and tanks that are handling hazardous waste removal. South Livingston and Blount Streets will stay open.
A new Republican proposal would cap how much the UW system could raise tuition if the current tuition freeze is lifted. The freeze was put in place in 2013 and is set to stay for another 2 years under the state budget Governor Evers signed this month. Representative Dave Murphy's Fair Future Tuition Act would put a cohort tuition in place where the Board of Regents could increase tuition for each incoming class, but only up to the Consumer Price Index.
When your young person starts in school, they will know how much their tuition is going to be while they're in school, because their tuition would be locked for 4 years. However, the university would be able to raise the tuition every year for the new class coming in.
If a student transfers or takes longer than 4 years to graduate, their tuition would go up under this bill. A spokesperson for the UW system says officials will provide more input once the bill is officially introduced.
We are learning more about 2 Wisconsin brothers from Shawano County who are missing this morning. Police say a rental car used by Nicholas and Justin DeMel was found abandoned in a commuter parking lot outside Kansas City. Nicholas's wife told reporters in Missouri she last spoke with her husband on Sunday and that the brothers own a livestock company and were visiting farms there on business.
It's just the most helpless feeling. I just want him home.
Now, DeMel's post about the missing brothers has been shared more than 6,000 times on Facebook.
6:08 is your time now on a Thursday morning. AirVenture is now underway, and they're showcasing what could be the future of personal transportation. Just ahead on the program, we'll check out this hopeful invention.
And couldn't ask for better weather for that event or for sunflower days either. Hattie's looking at a warm and sunny weekend ahead when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Stay with us.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A pretty nice quiet start this morning. We're coming off a beautiful day yesterday. As expected, though, there were just a few isolated showers popping up yesterday afternoon, and you can see really how isolated they were. The 24-hour precipitation estimates pretty light across southern Wisconsin, just a few showers west of Madison. Now, unlike the last couple of days, we don't have any rain in our forecast today. Winds have shifted, and they're from the south now. They'll start to bring in some warmer air to the region, but our rain chances really have diminished as we go through the afternoon hours. So the good news is that today will be dry across all of southern Wisconsin. Here's a look at Weather Track, which is satellite and radar combined, and you'll definitely notice some rain on the map to the west, but with high pressure in control here, that rain and even those clouds are going to have a tough time moving into southern Wisconsin. It is another pool day today across the area. Take your cue from the polar bear today. Temperatures will warm quickly this morning. There is some River Valley fog with visibility right around 0 in Lone Rock and Boscobel. Camp Douglas has been fluctuating with the visibility, down as low as a half a mile at times, right now back up to 1.5 miles. Once the sun gets just a little bit higher in the sky, though, that it will take care of the fog and it will dissipate rather quickly this morning. Our temperatures are in the 60s in most spots, 61 in the Dells and in Prairie du Chien, 64 in Mineral Point and Janesville, and 65 here in Madison. Dew points are a little bit higher. You may feel the humidity a little bit this morning. We're in the 60s in most spots, and through the day today, dew points will hover in the low 60s. So we continue with that slow upward trend on those dew point numbers through the week. Your future track forecast model has lots of sunshine this morning, and with that southerly wind, expect a pretty rapid warm-up. Temperatures will be climbing into the low 80s by lunchtime, and in some spots reach just a little bit higher than that, with highs in the mid-80s this afternoon. Now, this particular forecast model is bringing in a bit more moisture tonight in the form of clouds as well as some showers. The atmosphere is pretty dry here across southern Wisconsin, so I don't think we have a good chance at all of seeing any of that rain hit the ground tonight. Our forecast has our next best chance for rain holding off until later in the day on Sunday, even Sunday night into Monday. It is going to get pretty warm and humid around here for the weekend, though, with high temperatures in the upper 80s. Heat index values this weekend at times will be getting into the 90s. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. So far, it's a quiet start on the Beltline. No major delays showing up yet for the early commute. Excuse me. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad right now. Just plan on some of the usual brake lights on Stoughton Road and Verona Road as you approach the Beltline. No delays downtown around the Capitol and on campus. I would plan on things picking up over the next couple of hours. And other main routes heading into Madison, they're moving along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Josh and Hattie, thank you both. All right, 6:15 is your time this morning. Our floor director just dropped a piece of paper.
It's almost Friday.
If you're looking for the next big step in aviation, the EAA is the place to be. After all, that's its namesake, the Experimental Aircraft Association.
Okay, the story is pretty cool, folks. The Air Venture Conference in Oshkosh, Wisconsin has a prototype for an electric helicopter that stole the show yesterday. This helicopter could be a game changer for the transportation industry. Take a look.
It's motivated by this desire to do quiet intercity transportation. Kind of think of it like an Uber in the air.
Illuminati's model has gliders to help the chopper land in case it should lose power, which they say sets it apart from the others. Their hope is that electric helicopters will be up and running in about 5 years. This would be such a cool way to get to work.
Imagine what it's going to be in the future, though. Like, you were already talking about this right now. What's it going to be like in 50 years?
I mean, what is my commute's like 10 minutes, but if I could take a helicopter to work,
it'd be like 10 seconds.
That would be pretty neat.
That'd be awesome.
All right, we are lucky enough to live in a beautiful city with lots of gorgeous views of the lake, right? But rising water levels is a growing concern, and not just for people who live along the shore. We're sharing a call for action report on flooding issues. That's coming up after the break.
And speaking of lakes, it's looking to be a great weekend to spend it out on the water. We're going to hear all about it from Hattie when News 3 Now This Morning is back.
Another day, another gorgeous sunrise coming from southwest Wisconsin.
Yeah, this is day 4, maybe 5 if you count last Sunday. We have beautiful weather. Again, lots of color in the sunrise this morning coming out of our Platteville sky camera. Beautiful shot this morning. Nice forecast through the day today. If you didn't get enough sunshine yesterday, don't worry. Today's the day. I did make one change to the forecast. I changed it to partly sunny tomorrow. So I know, from mostly sunny to partly sunny. I hope you guys can deal with that.
We'll be all right.
Break out the pitchforks.
Pretty quiet week when that's the change that I'm making. Let's take a look, though, at what's happening this morning. 65 in Platteville this morning. Same here in Madison. In the Dells, it's 62 degrees. A nice start to the day. Dew points, as I've been talking all morning, are going to get a little bit higher. We're seeing numbers in the 60s today, so you'll start to notice that humidity as we go through the afternoon. Your future track forecast temperatures today starting in the 60s, climbing quickly through the 70s, already at the 80-degree mark by lunchtime today in many spots. We'll top right around 84 here in Madison this afternoon. Temperatures will cool down this evening, but rather slowly. By 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, we're just back into the lower 70s. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. With this gorgeous forecast this week, we want to remind you that boating without life vests or a fire extinguisher could mean a ticket worth a couple $100s.
Oh yeah, wardens are also keeping an eye out for people going too fast on the water. The Dane County Sheriff's Office issued at least 50 warnings last weekend to people not adhering to the slow no wake order that is in place right now. On top of that, Wisconsin's DNR is working with Minnesota's department to push an own your wake message to boaters.
You know, you can create a lot of property damage with creating wakes, so when those are put in place, it's to protect property owners, you know, around the lake as well as safety for other people out recreating.
That's not the only hazard to worry about. Lots of sunshine, calm winds, and no steady rain in the forecast could also mean more blue-green algae blooms, or as the Clean Lakes Alliance calls it, cyanobacteria.
We're having more intense rain events in the summer. So instead of it happening over a 24-hour period, we're getting it in a shorter amount of period. And when we have that, it's just real bad. We can't slow that runoff enough.
Luckily, only one public beach along Dane County's lakes was closed Wednesday for those high levels of bacteria.
1 year after historic flooding caused more than $200 million in damage across Wisconsin, people who live along Madison's lakes are still on edge about what's next. Topher Christensen is one of those residents. His property butts up against the Monona Bay. Beautiful views, but in recent years, he's been watching the water creep higher and higher. He even had to sell his motorboat because it no longer fits under the bridges to reach the lake. He's also had to take apart his pier year after year as it's often submerged. He has some questions for local government and what it's doing to protect him.
The county has an obligation to taxpayers to help them take care of their property, and this seems like an issue that they could solve pretty easily just by lowering the lake level at the beginning of the season.
We can do it on paper at this point if everyone could agree on what they should be on paper, but in reality, it's kind of a different situation.
So we talked to city engineers about why lowering lake levels doesn't necessarily solve the problem and what you can be doing to protect your own property. That's in tonight's Call for Action on News 3 now at 10. And in the meantime, if you have a consumer question or a complaint, our Call for Action volunteers can help you out with that. They're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 until 1. You can reach them at that phone number right there on your screen. That's 608-270-2833.
And I was just telling you during his soundbite there, I could not believe the fact that he had to sell his boat because he can't get it under. And I always was curious because I bike along there a lot that the water's so close to the bridge. None of those boats can get underneath there.
So Topher has a couple of young kids. They also have kayaks, and the kayaks can't get under those bridges because the water's so high.
Wow. Well, looking forward to seeing your story tonight.
Yep, we talked to both city and county leaders. They're going to have a lot of tips for you, and we're also talking about why lowering lake levels doesn't necessarily solve that problem. All right, still ahead here on The Morning Show, we have the top 3 things you need to know before you head out the door on this Thursday morning.
And see why more people are choosing Wisconsin as their retirement destination. That's all ahead, along with more local news. This is News 3 Now this morning.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and thanks for staying with us on this Thursday, July 25th. We're very giddy this morning, and I think it has to do with the forecast.
We are. The forecast and the fact that it's Friday Eve. But Hattie, you're looking at a gorgeous, gorgeous start to the day, right?
I am, yeah. Beautiful outside this morning. It's been a really tough week for me, guys, with this forecast. But really, no, the sunshine and nice weather continues.
Well, you deserve a quiet week after what we've experienced, especially for us really this whole year.
Oh, yeah. Hattie's going to put her feet up for a couple of minutes here while we tell you the top 3 things you need to know on this Thursday morning. First, breaking overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, Puerto Ricans took to the streets, this time not in protest, but in celebration. Governor Ricardo Rossello officially announced his plans to resign. He will stay in his position until August 2nd, when the Secretary of Justice will take over as governor. Thousands have protested for more than a week now, calling for the governor's resignation after offensive group messages were published.
Our second story we're following this morning, former special counsel Robert Mueller's testimony is sparking some mixed reactions. President Trump called it a great day for him and Republicans, while Democrat leaders say the American people were listening when Mueller said they did not clear the president of wrongdoing and that Trump could be charged with a crime after leaving office. Mueller's testimony was mostly confined to his 448-page report, referring back to it frequently.
Rounding out the top 3 this morning, we are learning more about 2 Wisconsin brothers from Shawano County who are missing. Police say a rental car being used by Nicholas and Justin DeMel was found abandoned in a commuter parking lot outside Kansas City. Nicholas's wife told reporters in Missouri that she last spoke with her husband on Sunday and that the brothers own a livestock company and were visiting the farms there on business.
All right, those are the top 3 things you need to know news-wise, and now Hattie needs to take her feet off the desk because she actually has to do the weather and traffic.
Yeah, time to work now. Let's get you up to date with the fog situation through the Wisconsin River Valley. Visibility is near 0 in Lone Rock and Boscobel, but you see the fog is not expanding outside of those low-lying spots, so not a huge issue this morning. The sunshine will dissipate that fog pretty quickly. Temperatures have been holding steady in most spots. It's 64 in Mineral Point, 65 here in Madison, 64 in Janesville. Juneau and the Dells are at 62. Winds are pretty calm right now, but they will be from the southwest today. That'll help us warm up into the mid-80s this afternoon. So as you step out the door, it's a nice, comfortable start to the day. Temps will warm quickly, though, already around 80 by lunchtime, topping at 84 this afternoon. Let's see if anything's going to slow you down on the roads this morning. Your first alert traffic maps early today. Looking pretty typical for this time of the morning with just some brake lights showing up on Stoughton Road and the Beltline, that intersection there. Otherwise, no other major issues. You're still going at posted speeds heading in from the surrounding communities. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right. Thank you very much, Hattie. So after a year off, one of the area's most popular annual events is returning to Middleton tomorrow.
Of course, we're talking about Sunflower Days, which brought nearly 100,000 people to Pope Farms Conservancy in 2017 before it was canceled last year due to large crowds. And that's where we find Christina Laurie live this morning with what to expect before you go. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Josh and Leah. From an all-new 5K to 500,000 of these beautiful sunflowers behind me, Sunflower Days is back, and it's bigger, better than ever before. Here to talk about that is Greg. He's the Town of Middleton's administrator. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Christine. How are you this morning?
We're doing great, and so you guys are expecting almost 100,000 potential visitors over the next 10 days. How do you plan to handle crowds this time around?
Well, that's one of the reasons we change it up here this year is that because of the fact that we've had so many people in the past years that we've hired organization to do organizational structure for us. So we're going to shuttle people in from various locations around the town, and we're going to bring them here into Sunflower Days, and it's going to be great over the next 10 days.
So let's dive a little deeper about parking. Specifically, where can people park? Because that's one of the aspects that you're bringing this year to help curb any of the crowd control problems you had 2 years ago.
Wisconsin Brewery is going to be a satellite location for us. We're going to do Capitol Ice. That's going to be a satellite location for us. Black Hawk Church is going to be another parking location for us. So people can go there, they can get tickets there, and then they can take the shuttle here so they don't have to worry about parking. They don't have to worry about the crowds and fighting traffic. So it's all done for them for a simple fee of $4 to get in.
And kids 12 and under are free.
Thank you for reminding me. 12 and under, free, absolutely. Come on in, enjoy the 9 acres of flowers here.
It's really gorgeous. It'd be a great spot for some family photos if you bring kids of all ages.
Well, the terrific thing about it is it's very pastoral out here. It's very tranquil out here. We're hoping people come out there with their families, get away from the screen time and the Nintendos and all those things, bring a picnic out here. It's just fabulous out here just to see the glorious sunflowers.
And we're almost out of time, but crowd-wise, when would be the best day over the next 10 days for folks to come out?
It's terrific. What you're seeing here is the sunflowers are now popping. We expect in the next day or two they're going to be in full bloom, and their glorious bloom. So we say Sunday, the weekend, the weekdays, anytime will be great to come out here and to view it.
Thanks so much for talking to us, Greg. So as Greg mentioned, Sunflower Days, it officially kicks off tomorrow, starts at 8 a.m., runs until sunset every day, starting tomorrow for the next 10 days. You can find all the information, how to get tickets. They're only $4 up on our website. And again, kids get in for free.
All right. Sounds like that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, Christina.
So if you're looking for the best state to retire in, you probably don't have to go anywhere. More and more people are choosing Wisconsin. The Badger State comes in as the 12th best state to retire in, according to the latest survey by Bankrate.com. I caught up with Dennis and Leanne Ethan, who chose to retire in Madison. They say sticking around here was a no-brainer. The couple owns What's Brewin' in Sun Prairie, which their daughter manages and granddaughters work at. It's a family business within a community that has become a family.
Even though we kind of hate the cold weather every once in a while, we still love the season changes and the culture here, everything. This was our place.
Retirement expert Mark Farnan says Wisconsin has a lot of things going for its residents, including overall affordability and wellness. And we also have a low crime rate, especially in the Madison area. It's also very family friendly.
Wisconsin residents are very tuned into their families, and when I meet with my clients, for example, they're always talking about wanting to have proximity to their children or their friends.
Meanwhile, our neighbor to the west, Minnesota, came in as the 11th worst state for retirement. That's because of higher taxes and housing costs there. And yes, a worse weather score. Our state also ranks higher than most on the coast and to the south, where many people tend to flock to. Of course, wherever you plan to retire, experts say it's better to start saving sooner rather than later. And this sparked a lot of comments on social media because, as we know, Madison, the rent rates are very high here. So a lot of people are like, how is this possible? But there's a lot of things that kind of mix into that. Obviously, you have the culture, you have the crime, you have the weather. It's not just about affordability.
We were talking earlier about how low vacancy rates are in Madison. That drives up the apartment rental prices here. We have a lot of employment in this city, so you have a lot of folks flocking to a smaller amount of apartments. Of course, the prices are going to be higher. Both you and I rent. I've been renting here for about 10 years, so I know it's very expensive, but our city also offers a lot. A lot.
Yeah, and we're proud to be a big little city, but we're competing with a lot of bigger cities like San Francisco. I know is one of the ones that we really compare with, which San Francisco a lot bigger than Madison. So, I mean, we have a lot to be thankful for, but yeah, higher rent, but a lot of other things going for us too.
Very interesting study and great reporting by you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, we hope to keep this conversation about prices going in Madison. News 3 Now wants to know what kind of affordability questions you have or what you're experiencing. Be sure to let us know by emailing tips@channel3000.com, or you can also reach out on our Facebook page.
All right, looking ahead now, as soon as November, Madison restaurants and bars could be allowed to give out plastic straws only if a customer asks for one. Alder Syed Abbas will present plans for that new city ordinance next month. It's an effort to cut back on the plastic that ends up in our rivers and oceans. Under this proposed rule, restaurants could still give out straws to takeout and drive-through customers, and then offer paper or reusable metal straws to dine-in customers.
We want people to be aware how much plastic they are using, how much straw they are using, and it's not been recycled. So we are not banning the plastic straw. We are asking plastic straw upon request. If you want to get plastic straw, you have to request a plastic straw. It should not be in your glass. You should not get it.
Syed says the proposal will now go to a disability commission whose feedback will help make sure that members of our community with disabilities who need to use those plastic straws will still have access to them.
6:36 this morning, just a week away from NFL preseason now, and the Packers are getting ready.
Oh yeah, folks, we're already talking about football here in Wisconsin. You're going to get a look at the Packers training camp. That's next on News 3 Now this morning.
Ashley Home Stores.
6:39 right now. Time to share your morning, and Pat is sharing hers, and this is an incredible picture.
Pat Sparling, a frequent flyer here on the morning show, always sharing just the most beautiful, beautiful photos. I told Josh earlier, this looks exactly like the Lion King setup, the Lion King scene that the movie starts out with, which is very appropriate since that movie just came out.
Oh, look at the coloring, the sunrise. I just love that so much.
Beautiful, Pat. Thank you so much for sharing.
If you've got a photo of your morning you'd like to share with us, just go to our social media account, Channel 3000, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning.
All right, in just a few hours, football season will be getting underway with the start of Packers training camp.
The first practice of the Matt LaFleur era starts at 10:15 this morning. It's the first of 16 public practices this year. That includes a pair of joint practices with former Badger J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans on August 5th and 6th, ahead of their preseason game against each other on the 8th. The last public practice of camp will be August 19th. The Packers' first regular season game is a little more than a month away on September 5th against the Chicago Bears.
The team surprised a lot of people by releasing defensive end Mike Daniels yesterday. When he's been on the field, he's been productive, but he missed 8 games because of injuries in the last 2 seasons. He was scheduled to make $8.5 million this coming season, which is why some shareholders might have felt some relief at their annual meeting yesterday. A few thousand fans gathered in Lambeau Field to hear about the state of the team. Profits were way down last year, and there were a lot of reasons for that, including larger than expected payments for an NFL concussion settlement, and of course paying Aaron Rodgers and all those new free agents. Leaders say profits should return to a more normal level by next fiscal year. I cannot believe we're already talking about football season.
I know, that's crazy to think that.
Oh my goodness. All right, we are just a third of the way through summer, and it's been a pretty warm one so far, folks. So coming up, Hattie's forecast points to another great summer weekend here in Wisconsin, but we will notice the return of a little bit of humidity.
Yeah, there's a live look outside once again, the Pope Farms Conservancy. I could just look at that shot all day long.
Perfect weekend to get out there, folks. All the details up on channel3000.com.
But first, as we go to break, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. We thank you for that, and we will be right back.
right, folks, forget the forecast or the rest of the news today. We're just going to spend the next 20 minutes looking at that beautiful sight.
So I've had Post Malone's song Sunflower in my head all morning because of this story.
Is that a country song?
No, it's not.
Aw, Josh.
Did you know me yet?
Come on, Hattie, help us out here.
Flowers are blooming than the first time we saw that shot.
Oh, I kind of agree with that. You're right.
Yeah, I think that that's a beautiful shot this morning. Perfect weather over the coming days. So if you have a chance, head out to the town of Middleton, the Pope Farm Conservancy to see those sunflowers. Might also have plans to hit the lake today. You can see a little bit of activity on the lake this morning. Beautiful start to this morning. Temperatures will actually be a little bit above normal today, hitting highs in the mid 80s. Normal this time of the year is right around 81 degrees. And you can see over the next 10 days, we're generally above that. So as we close out the month of July, we're likely to end on a pretty warm note. August starts a week from today. Here are the statistics for the month of August. It does start to cool down with those normals. We're looking at normal high by the end of the month in the upper 70s. Nighttime lows typically getting back into the 50s. Very comfortable conditions. Can still have some pretty big extremes in August. The warmest 102 degrees back in 1998 or 1988, I believe, and the coldest back in 1967. 35 degrees, just 3 degrees above the freezing point. So hopefully we're not talking anything like that just yet as we head through August 2019. High pressure has been dominating the weather for the last couple of days. It now shifts to the east of Wisconsin, still close enough to keep all of this rain though well off to our west. So any of those showers and clouds that you see off to the west, you're gonna have a hard time working their way east today. Dew points, seeing a few more 60s on the map this morning. In fact, a dew point of 62 in Madison as well as St. Louis. Omaha has a dew point of 60. So those dew point numbers are creeping up just a little bit, and they'll continue to climb a little bit more as we go through the end of the week towards the upcoming weekend. We're solidly in the bad hair day category today. So you're definitely going to notice the humidity, but it's not going to be unbearable. Here's a look at the visibility map. All morning, we've been talking about some fog through the Wisconsin River Valley. Those conditions continue, but that fog is not an issue elsewhere. Temperatures are in the 60s this morning. Winds are light out of the south. They'll continue from the south through the day today. So take a look at your future track forecast model as we go through the afternoon. Temperatures will already be in the 80s by lunchtime in many locations with lots of sunshine. Now later on tonight, this forecast model is trying to bring some clouds into the area as well as a little bit of rain. Air is very dry here. I'm not expecting a lot of rain across southern Wisconsin. If we do see any raindrops, they'll be pretty isolated tonight. Temperatures will stay pretty mild overnight in the 60s. We're headed to highs then in the upper 80s on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's definitely going to be more humid around here, so heat index values will be in the low 90s at times this weekend. Really, our next best chance for rain comes late Sunday into Monday. Here's our pet walk forecast. This is Bodie in Janesville.
Bodie.
Is that a Green Bay Packer bandana on there?
Of course it is.
Sweet. Love it. A little too early for football season, a little warm if you're playing today, but a nice day for a walk.
Come on, Bodie. No football yet.
Let's not wish summer away.
Buddy.
Bodie.
Bodie. All right, thank you, Addie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning. But first, Tony DeCopel is here with what's ahead at 7. Hi, Tony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, Puerto Rico's governor is stepping down. David Begnaud is on the island with reaction after days of protests calling for the governor's resignation. Plus, the fallout from Robert Mueller's 6-hour-plus testimony. We'll look at the consequences for President Trump, what he could face once he's out of office. And saving the coral reefs from a mystery disease. We'll take you to the Dry Tortugas National Park to show you the unique effort. We'll see you at 7.
6:52, time for the morning sprint as our team gets your Thursday started with everything you need to know.
We start with breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center out of Puerto Rico. That's where residents took to the streets overnight, this time not in protest, but in celebration. Governor Ricardo Rosselló officially announced his plans to resign. He will stay in his position until August 2nd, when the Secretary of Justice will take over as governor. Thousands have protested for more than a week now, calling for the governor's resignation after offensive group messages were published.
Former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's testimony is sparking some mixed reactions. President Trump called it a great day for him and Republicans, while Democratic leaders hope the American people were listening when Mueller said that Trump could be charged with a crime after leaving office. Mueller's testimony was mostly confined to his 448-page report, referring back to it frequently.
We are learning more about two Wisconsin brothers from Shawano County who are missing this morning. Police say a rental car being used by Nicholas and Justin DeMel was found abandoned in a commuter parking lot outside Kansas City. Nicholas's wife told reporters in Missouri that she last spoke with her husband on Sunday and that the brothers own a livestock company and were visiting those farms on business.
6 people in Dane County have been taken to hospital emergency rooms in 9 days from opioid overdoses. With more than 5 suspected non-fatal overdoses are seen in Dane County emergency rooms, it's considered above average for a week and will trigger an alert. These cases can be a sign of an especially strong batch of heroin or one laced with fentanyl in our area.
And we start with clear skies this morning. Here's a live look outside the station. Looking to the west, no clouds in the area this morning. Temperatures will warm quickly from the 60s through the 70s to 80 by lunchtime, topping at 84 degrees later on this afternoon.
Nearly 100,000 people are expected this weekend at Pope Farms Conservancy in Middleton for Sunflower Days, which returns after a year off. Visitors can see more than 500,000 of these sunflowers in bloom in a 9-acre sunflower field. This year's events run from tomorrow, July 26th, until August 4th. It costs $4 per adult to get into the fields. Kids 12 and under get in for free. There is no parking at the Conservancy, so a shuttle bus service will be provided to bring people to the event. You can walk through the sunflower fields between 8 a.m. and sunset each day. Sunflower Days, as we said, officially begins tomorrow morning, and you could see the sunflowers from 8 a.m. until sunset through next Sunday, August 4th.
Thank you very much, Christina. The DOT is taking a look at feedback from you on the future of the Beltline here in Madison. Officials held a public information session last night where residents shared concern about noise and safety when it comes to upgrading the Beltline. The proposed project would offer a number of options to reduce traffic. More meetings are planned, but a date for those have not been set yet.
The 700 block of East Main Street will be closed for up to 2 months for cleanup for last week's fire at the Blount substation. The American Transmission Company says the closure is needed to give space for equipment and tanks that are handling hazardous waste removal. South Livingston and Blount Streets will still be open.
A new Republican proposal would cap how much the UW system could raise tuition if the current tuition freeze is lifted. That freeze was put in place back in 2013 and is set to stay for another 2 years under the state budget Governor Evers signed this month. Representative Dave Murphy's Fair Future Tuition Act would put a cohort tuition in place to keep prices from rising more than the Consumer Price Index.
Criminals are taking advantage of Alice Mann's winnings from the April Powerball jackpot. Scammers posing to be the original winner, Manuel Franco, take to social media advertising free money and giveaways. They then ask for banking information. Police say they can't get involved until money is actually exchanged.
As soon as November, Madison restaurants and bars could only be allowed to give out plastic straws if a customer asks for one. Alder Syed Abbas will present plans for that new city ordinance next month. Under the proposed rule, restaurants could still give out straws to takeout and drive-through customers or offer paper and reusable straws to dine-in customers.
The Ian's opening at the Garver feed mill came to an abrupt end when they ran out of dough. Managers wrote on Facebook they were humbled by the welcome they received from the Eastside community. They're now meeting to regroup and improve the customer experience. They hope to reopen in the next couple of days.
6:56 your time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Picking up on the westbound Beltline now between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. I would plan on a couple minutes extra, and it is continuing to get busier. Inbound John Nolan not looking too bad, just tapping the brakes near the Rimrock and Olin Avenue intersections. That's going to make your way into downtown. And other routes heading into Madison still moving along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or issues. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh.
And a nice look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning out over Lake Mendota. Temperatures will warm quickly today. We're starting in the 60s, but we'll quickly warm to the 70s to highs in the mid-80s this afternoon. A bit more humidity today, definitely more humid for Friday and the upcoming weekend. Highs will be in the upper 80s each day. Our next chance for rain really holding off until later in the day on Sunday into Monday. That will be along a cold front that cools us down, at least briefly, as we head into next week.
Boy, still continuing that beautiful forecast this week, though, huh?
We are, yes. Now 4 or 5 days in a row with nothing but sunshine.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.